Yeah, pretty nice operation there. I just love the visuals there, love the pictures.
Nice.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Hey, everybody. We're going to get started. Thanks for coming on today. Sierra here from Ohio, and we have Zeb with us as our guest speaker. So we're going to let him talk a little bit about what he does, where he is, and where he's from. And I'll just kind of let you get started. So Zeb, what is your current project and kind of what do you spend most of your time doing?
Hey Sierra and hey team. So I'm down in Southland, New Zealand, right down the bottom of the country, and I'm a third generation sheep farmer on a farm called the Montana Flat. And yeah, we've got 1,000 acres or 400 hectares, and we run about 4,000 sheep on that. So yeah, each year producing over 6,000 lambs. And yeah, that's plenty enough to keep us busy within the sheep farming enterprise. But yeah, for the last 3-4 years after I got back from a bit of an overseas experience, I've just been dabbling in a whole range of tangential, just experiments sort of with agritourism and permaculture. And yeah, so we're just trying to explore diversity on the property to the full extent of the word. And yeah, what the focus is at any one time changes a lot. Currently, I've been working on an event called Future Whenua Summit, which starts in 2 days' time. It's the inaugural one, and yeah, that's sort of like a 3-day educational event. And people sort of across the rail sector in New Zealand are coming to speak about their place in the sector and their view on the future of our whenua, which is Māori for land. And yeah, as we're seeing on the website in the background, there's a bunch of the different initiatives. The Montana Flat website is actually set up as a cadetship, rural training program. It hasn't gone too far, the cadetship yet, but it was a way of getting all the stuff we're up to in one place to begin with. On there right now is Burning Horse, and polyculture paddocks are another one. We should have a bunch of photos coming up later, and I'd like to explain what I've been doing there. Just a trial with large scale using just a normal seed drill in the way that we're planting multi-species crops, winter crops for the sheep, and yeah, just replacing some of those species, Swedes, kale, fava beans, and replacing them with mesclun and carrots and nasturtiums, and seeing what's been coming up. So yeah, polyculture paddocks been our sort of vegetable or horticultural permacultural trial, and then yeah, just a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, on the entertainment, we've got 2 frisbee golf courses on the farm, one by the river, one on the plantation. So experimenting a lot with the production, a lot with bringing people in, and then yeah, we like to have a good time. So
That's awesome. I see Wayne popped on. Hey, Wayne.
Hey, how you doing, Wayne?
Oh, we're not hearing you. I think you might be muted.
I was muted. I unmuted. I apologize for being late. I've been telling everybody this is going to be my most favorite webinar for months, because I love my conversation with Zeb, and also our back and forth email with Joel Salatin a little bit. And then just as I came on, he's talking about Frisbee golf. I love Frisbee golf, so it's
really
cool. I have a course at my place also.
Oh, brilliant! As if I didn't need another reason to come and visit you when I make it back to the States, Wayne.
Yep, so I also have, this is the last little thing about me, and you might think about it because you've got the space for it. I have a pasture golf course. So it's really the way that regular golf started. So I did bring some artificial grass in to have as tee boxes, but you wouldn't need that. you could literally use these little pads you can get just to hit golf balls off of. And then I have PVC pipe with some rebar in the ground, and it's there. Those are the flag sticks. And so you hit the ball within 10 yards of the flag stick, sort of in a circle that's around it. And I don't mark them. It's sort of, you just guess. And that's in the hole, so you don't putt. But it's actually a full-length golf course. I have 7,000 yards that you could play as a distance, which is the same distance the pros play. And the equivalent of a hole-in-one on our course, and it's only happened once, is you play with the same ball the whole round. You haven't lost it. So if you lose your ball, you replace it, and you know that. So that's the cool thing. So you could. There used to be a website called pasturegolf.com. It doesn't exist anymore. I went to it, and it's redirected to some other site. But anyway, something for you to think about is if you need more in your life is to have a pasture golf course.
Pasture golf, load me out. I'm into it. Nice.
Yeah. So cool. Well, Sierra, I'm gonna let you keep. Sierra's my amazing environmental assistant and associate, and I knew I might be a little late, so I asked her to make sure to be able to be on here. Oh man, does that food look great there in the middle? And I wanted her to get to know you anyway, but over time, by the way, did you and Joel communicate any more separately from the emails that I was copied on? And if not, I can.
No, nothing further than that. Yeah, I was just sort of introducing.
I'll push him a little bit more, and we'll make sure that we get additional communication, because he was kind of excited about what you're doing. So, and he's a really good guy, and he's not that hard to get to know. So Sierra, you continue on your questioning, and let me get my my feet on the ground in terms of my thoughts here, and then I'll jump in and ask Zeb some questions also.
Yeah, sounds good. So the first thing that really comes to mind is, why sheep? Is this something that you've been involved in since you were a child, or is it just something that you jumped into and really got interested? I mean, how did it all start?
Yeah, so the sheep farming, my grandfather bought this property maybe 50, 60 years ago, and it's been a sheep farm ever since then. So yeah, that's not a decision of mine. It's sort of like just the way of it down here in New Zealand. It used to be all sheep farms in our area, and then 10, 20 years ago they sort of there were a lot of dairy conversions, and in the last 5 or so years, the only conversions going on is converting to grain farming. Seems we've got a really good climate for arable farming here, actually. So down our road, there's probably just two or three farms holding on to the family sheep farm, and yeah, we just love it. I wouldn't want to swap to a dairy or a grain farming model. I enjoy the sheep farming. There's a lot of diversity in our day, and we know how to do it, and we're pretty highly productive here. So yeah, that's why.
So I'll follow up with.
Oh, go ahead, Wayne.
Just to follow up to that, and I knew the history there, but I don't know the question I'm going to ask. How have you changed in terms of your operations from what your grandfather or your father did? What are the primary changes, and if any, that you've done?
So when Pop bought this place, there were about 6 trees on the entire property, and yeah, now there's tree lanes down there, thousands of trees. So that was sort of him and Dad, and they also replaced the whole fences. Everything's got a central lane system, and so from purchase to sort of Dad's era was just really about efficiency and replacing all the grasses, getting things cranking. And my last 3 or 4 years since being here is just, yeah, it's about exploring this diversity in our system, different enterprises. That's why I was so keen to talk to Joel, because he's such a patron of the, stacking enterprises, or that line of thinking, and I'm really believing that as the way that we should sort of, maybe not everyone, but definitely farms like ours, well and surely we could. So for me, it's about bringing in other models, having the events, having some experiment with a bit more self-sufficiency, and yeah, in our actual seed farming enterprise, we've been on the regenerative agriculture train for the last couple of years, and yeah, always we've done monoculture Swedes has been our winter crops. The grass doesn't grow much here in winter, so we have to supplementary feed them with baleage, and yeah, we'll do about 30 or 40 hectares of winter crop each year as well. So that's always been just a monoculture of Swedes or sometimes kale, and the last year, this year, we're 100% of winter crops is direct drilled multi-species crops. So that's one of the big changes.
And you know, again, I know that Joel's going to have a great time over time talking with you about how he has stacked enterprises. I don't know if we had a chance to talk about it, but I don't know if you'd find a more firm believer, strong believer that the only way we can make sort of the non-industrial farm a big part of our food future is, and to get regenerative, restorative, all those sort of green words, farming back to be more in the norm, is to convince those farmers that are involved that they have to look at a variety of different ways that they make income on their property. And I call my place, I don't remember whether I told you this when we talked, Zeb, but I call my place an ecological business park, because that seems to relate more to the common person around that's not a farmer, because they understand a business park. That's, oh yeah, there's lots of different businesses there. Those businesses find a way to work together, and you know, you might have a hub business. Let's say it's a business that makes golf carts or makes four-wheel buggies. Well, then you're going to need businesses that make a lot of the parts that would be there for those. So they all, the smaller businesses come in to support the primary one. So in my case, the primary business has been for 10 plus years now, alpacas. That's changing, and our primary business is becoming aquaculture. And aquaculture in the past was a secondary business. It's becoming primary. But I think I told you, I never have less than 10 different income deriving businesses at my location. And I have a much, much smaller piece of land than you do. And I can have as many as 30 at any given point. And I won't consider them unless they're compatible with each other. That leads me to a question, which is, you were struggling getting that right person. I know you failed on the first one to come in and be to be an intern with you. Have you tried a second person yet?
No, I haven't tried a second person yet. Had a young Scottish fellow, James Cook. He's been here all summer. So in terms of just like having the help, yeah, have had that. But in terms of getting someone to long-term join the team, still in that search. And yeah, I love your idea about the ecological business park. I hope you don't mind if I use that in the future.
I don't mind at all. Yeah.
And it's actually, in terms of getting that person to join, so yeah, through what we're looking at down the bottom is the cadetship, and that would always be a transient role. Someone's just coming to upskill themselves and learn, you know, and move on and make their impact elsewhere. But yeah, we are looking for someone, and I've sort of narrowed it down to who the first role is going to be an ecosystems manager. So do we get a full-time permaculturist, or do we need to get someone to worry about the agroforestry initiatives or something. I know that's where we need the help the most, but rounding that out, and it's a ecosystems manager that I think will be the role there.
And I'll tell you what, I've always wished that I would do better than I have done, and it's really what I want to make a really big effort to do moving forward, is to make sure, and I'm an older guy than you, Zeb, but to make sure that I have a leader that can take over for me at any time, and that would have a diversity of skills, the same sort of passion for the venture, the ecological business park, wouldn't have to necessarily have the primary skills that I have, which in the case of our farm, it's aquaculture. I mean, I've been the aquaculture guy. And interestingly, I haven't even tried to find a second there because I still enjoy doing it so much. Just like you probably maybe don't even think about finding a second for yourself with your sheep enterprises, because again, your grandfather did it.
Baron's on the screen right now. He's not actually the second. He's the one. I work underneath Baron's on the sheep side of things.
So you already have that. That's already in place. Well, I don't, and I need to have that. And honestly, I believe Joel would tell you that he does have it too with Daniel, his son. That Joel could just go on the speaking circuit if he wanted to, or writing books, or being the amazing teacher and person that he is. But that Daniel, his son, is that person that's the second. I don't have that yet, and so I really need that. And then secondly, we're changing, and if you were now to look at a website that we're still under development with, but for our ranch, which is called Mountain Sky Ranch, we've actually changed the name of it to Mountain Sky Community, that we want the public to understand, because we're going to add on top of the business park side a living center for a very small and select group of people. In our case, we could have 2 other families or individuals or couples live with us, but the goal is not that they would live there full time, but rather it would be a place that they could come anytime when times are good and play, or even learn, interact with all those 10 to 30 other businesses that are there.